Hey, good evening, everybody. It's close to 9:30. Almost made it on time tonight. We're going to be talking about the cold weather tonight, a really nice weekend. Most of it's going to be nice, and then storms coming in Sunday night after 6 o'clock. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth about that, why currently it doesn't look like a severe weather setup, definitely not a severe weather outbreak for us. Again, that's Sunday night. We'll talk more about that. Beyond that, we've got some really nice weather coming our way. Going to make sure my mic is on. There it is. And nice weather coming up. In fact, this month, acting very much like it should, came in like a lion, going out like a lamb. Unfortunately, we're going to have this dry stretch of weather, nice weather next week, and then it may set us up for more severe weather in April, which should come as no surprise. April's our peak month for severe weather and tornadoes. Everything is going to start greening up next week. The Bradford pears have been blooming the last 4 or 5 days. The red buds out there, and then we're going to get the dogwoods coming into bloom next week. The hummingbirds are all coming back next week. The warmer weather, so things are looking great. If the hummingbirds came back early this week, they would not like it at all, would they? So here's a look at those temperatures. Right now we're in the 40s and 30s, 34 already in Pulaski. That's one of our colder spots, so I'm not exactly sure where that reading is. It's probably in a valley somewhere because the colder air typically drains to the coldest spot, and that's why if you live on a ridge top tonight, you'll be just a little bit warmer than down in the valley. That's just how that works. Here's your forecast for tomorrow. It's Friday. Good news there. I'm taking the day off. Man, 3-day weekend. I'm looking forward to it. 31 degrees in the morning. A hard freeze tonight. Now, if you've recently bought plants, what do we got, problems? Oh, circle box. Oh, man. See, I almost had it right. But here's what we're looking at. Let me go backwards. There we go. Temperatures in the mid-30s, and we've got 34 in Pulaski. Still 41 in Huntsville, so you kind of get a variety of temperatures. Kind of an urban heat island effect, so to speak, out there. But as we go beyond tonight, tomorrow morning, we're going to be in the 30s. Your pipes are not going to burst tonight. It's not going to get that cold. We've got pretty good insulation in our homes down here in the southeast, at least for temperatures in the upper 20s and low 30s. There will be frost on the windshield in the morning. You'll see that developing overnight tonight. Some of you may see that here by about midnight tonight. We're going to climb out of this deep freeze. We're going to get back into the 50s, mid-50s by lunchtime, and low 60s in the afternoon. And then the clouds come back as we finish out the day. And as we go down the road here, nothing on radar tonight. Our next chance of rain is coming, of course, as I mentioned, Sunday evening. The clouds have finally moved out. Smoky Mountains, seeing some snow showers out there. We had some sleet around here earlier today, and that's really no surprise. It's just because of some evaporative cooling that was going on as well. They're getting some weather up there in New York City and New York State, Washington, D.C., some heavier showers there. But then things are very quiet here across the Midwest. So first day of spring, you usually think of severe weather, but it's been fairly quiet today. No active severe weather, but boy, they're getting hit hard up in the Pacific Northwest. Ski resorts getting a little bit of late season snow, and they'll probably see that a few more times. Now, the wind was a little brisk earlier today, and it won't be too bad tomorrow. In fact, it'll be calm in the morning, and that's one reason why we'll probably have some frost out there, so we'll be dealing with some of that. We're going to go hour by hour here through tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures will be around freezing to start the day, and again, some of the larger cities maybe just a touch warmer. But it's going to be a slow warm-up as we get into Friday afternoon. We're talking about 55, as I mentioned earlier, between noon and 1 o'clock. And then we'll briefly hit the low 60s as the clouds come in late in the day. But no rain at all. The humidity's fairly low, and that's another reason. It's going to take a while for the Gulf to open back up for business, we call it. Whenever you hear meteorologists say the Gulf is open for business, that means all that moisture transport coming off, that evaporation over that ocean water is moving north with the south wind, and that's what fuels the water cycle. Y'all learned that in elementary school. I still go out and we talk to schools and we talk about the water cycle, and that's kind of how all weather begins. As far as the severe weather threat, you get the clash of air masses, but the clash coming up this weekend is not that big of a clash. We're looking at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening as we kind of go back to the forecast for tomorrow. Just a few more clouds, and this is one thing that's been getting all of us down, so I'm going to have another sip of water. It's the pollen. Pollen is high, and it's not getting any better anytime soon. Everything's reversed. I'm trying to straighten my tie here. That's better. So as we continue on into the weekend, it's only going to get worse as that south wind picks up. And eventually what happens is you start getting the pollen in the northern states, and that blows back in here. So while we've had pollen from the south and the trees stop pollinating south of us, that south wind usually doesn't bring as much pollen in, but we get a big cold front that comes in late in the season. So that's why the pollen season here in the southeast is so long, because you'll get pollen that, let's say like the Bradford pears, for example. They've been blooming all week. You get the pollen from that. But the Bradford pears are probably starting to bloom now across Kansas, Ohio, Nebraska. So when the wind shifts to the north, we get that Bradford pear pollen back in here, or the redbud tree pollen back in here. So it's a constant pollinating area, so to speak. 63 degrees tomorrow for the high, 71 Saturday, 76 Sunday. We've got storms coming in. We're going to talk more about that. We're going to take this brief commercial break, and we will be right back. All right, 15 more seconds. Just hang on. Again, I want to thank One Source Roofing here for sponsoring this. Again, one of these days, we're going to grow the audience, and we're going to get more of a video forecast, because I think, again, staring at a slate for 1 minute, it's tough. It's a tough audience when that happens. But again, we're talking about the next weather maker. That's coming in Sunday, and I'm going to show you why we're too far out. The challenge here is the Storm Prediction Center now goes out 8 days, and they outlook an area for severe weather. And it's all in good intention to give you a heads up, but some of these setups do not produce. Some of these setups end up being just general thunderstorms down the road. But the problem is it sets the stage for all these social media meteorologists to all of a sudden say, oh, we're going to have this dynamic setup, widespread outbreak of severe weather coming. And if the Storm Prediction Center didn't do that, put that outlook out, you wouldn't have that. So basically, it gives the people doing this, it gives them verification to be able to say, well, hey, it's a legitimate threat. The Storm Prediction Center outlooked it. We're keeping an eye on it, but it just doesn't have the setup for significant severe weather. I still think we're going to get thunderstorms. Yeah, we do get thunderstorms this time of year, and they'll start moving in at some point between 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock. The one thing I look for is the orientation of the front. This is coming in from the northwest. It's not being dragged in with a negative tilt or even a positive tilt trough. It's just a front slowly dropping southeast. The main area low pressure, the dynamics with it are all up in the Great Lakes region, and the surface pressure falls are not significant either. So we've got an overlaying situation where, yes, strong thunderstorms are a possibility, a concern if you're outdoors, a concern if you're camping, those kind of things there. Now, if something were to ramp up, if we were to get an area low pressure across this frontal boundary, if it were to stall and we were to see high instability, that'd be a really big concern. But right now, it's just something to watch. And it's 3 days away. So we got Friday, Saturday. We got 3 days. It's a very short window. The high resolution models will pick up on this tomorrow. We'll have a better idea. But right now, just looking at this, it doesn't look like a big threat. But the other problem with this is you got a lot of people, as we saw with the last event, there's a lot of storm anxiety. And this just triggers a constant anxiety amongst people. So if you have that anxiety, I would just kind of check out every now and then, because a lot of you just want that update. A lot of people will see a forecast 3 days away, take it at face value, and think that's exactly what's going to happen, and that's not the case. Like we nailed the heavy rain last weekend, but not the severe weather. Let's take a look at Sunday here at 10 o'clock in the evening. Notice how it gets rain cooled really quick too. So that's a sign the atmosphere is fairly stable. So I don't think we're going to see widespread significant severe weather. The rain continues through about 5 a.m. Monday. So we're going to get some really good rain out of this. Here's what I really want to focus on. This is the instability. This is what we're talking about. Notice how all this yellow, that's Louisiana, that's southern Arkansas, that's eastern Texas. Yeah, I would say a threat of severe weather there, but the challenge there is they really may not have the dynamics there. So we have a slightly more wind shear up here, but we don't have the instability. They have a lot less wind shear down south, but they have the instability. So therefore, heavy rain, gusty winds, small hail. And when you're looking at these CAPE values is what it is, convective available potential energy, what you're looking at is the buoyancy of the air, how fast can it rise, how fast will it lift. This also was a precursor to hail as well. And we're looking at 0 joules per kilogram. This is at 1:30 in the afternoon. Also keep in mind we start the morning Sunday in the mid-40s. Very rarely do you start with temperatures in the 40s and end up with significant severe weather by the end of the day. Notice how stable the air is here in East Alabama, all of North Alabama for that matter. That's 3 o'clock. It climbs a little bit as we warm up, but as the sun sets, all this is going to start going away. So there's a look at 7 o'clock. This is right as the storms are moving in. So looking at this particular graphic, obviously the higher threat for strong and severe storms will be off to our southwest. So we're going to watch it, check in from time to time on it, but right now it's not a major threat. It is a rainfall threat though. We've got this, most of this will be late in the evening, overnight into Monday morning. Good 1/2 inch to 1 inch soaking out there. It'll wash the pollen out temporarily. Here's your 10-day forecast. Huntsville Havoc back in town tomorrow. I'm going to be out there for that one. Looking forward to that. Saturday too. They've been on the road for almost 10 days now, I think. Then we're back to 66. So Monday, again, really nice weather next week. We really start to see the trees start to bud, the flowers coming out, things starting to bloom next week. Now next weekend, the model guidance says 78 Sunday. We'll just wait and see what happens with that. Again, as we get into April, sometimes after you have this significant break in thunderstorm activity, you start warming up. You watch those dew point temperatures. Once they get in the mid-60s, and you see highs close to 80 with a stronger storm system, you have to watch that very closely. No comments. Oh, man. Quiet night. All right, well, check out. Thanks. I'm taking off tomorrow, 3-day weekend. I will be back Monday. You guys have a good one.